Hey everybody, Mr. Amazing here. Just doing a little South African console YouTubers response to the designer notes for year 8 season 2. Yeah, it's late. I just got my setup. Well, I've been figuring out how my setup works, but let's just get straight into it, right? So we're going to look at the balancing matrix in terms of console specifically. Yeah, and this is Emerald and above, which I am not, but it's fine. I can still speak to some of these things, and is what's definitely clear is that it's reflecting what we see in rank most of the time. We see a whole lot of Yana play, and that's just because of her ability. She's got a great gun and she's got nades. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, like Maverick, you take the nades away, you don't see much of her being played, unless she becomes a new Ash in that respect. Ace is the most versatile hard breacher there is. So, and he's got flamers as well. So yeah, you're going to see that guy in a high pick rate. And yeah, Ash is still there, and the Claymores help out in terms of being able to deploy two of those. But also, she's got a great gun and the head the size of a peanut. So, is what it is. She's always going to be there. And she's obviously got her breaching rounds, which help with the rush play as well. I'm surprised to see Jager here, considering that he's one of the top bands. And when he is picked, you can see from the win Delta Pacific he's in there. But the minute he's not banned, he's probably easily chosen, and that's why we see him so much here. Most of the other guys are kind of close to the target area that Ubisoft want to have them in. I'm surprised Blackbeard has a win delta of 0. I expected him to be lower. And now I see these guys lower over here. These guys are more situational, so I'm not going to hold it against them. Grim is just Grim. But what's surprising is that Sense is sitting here at the bottom. And I can only attribute that to probably his usage not being mature enough yet, because he is a great operator, especially if you want to do something fancy, though situational. Now, let me not say situational. There needs to be a great creativity of how you utilize him, and perhaps that's not there yet. Hence, his pick rate so low. He's kind of one of those operators that, if you do it right, great for your team, but if you do it wrong, it can go against your team as well. So, yeah, I think he's one of those. He's like the yin without the blinding in a certain sense, in terms of how impactful the wrong play can be for you. When we look at the defender side, Oryx still has a great gun. He's mobile. He's just great. So I doubt we're going to see him go down anytime soon. He helps with the site creation in terms of remodeling. He's got the bailiff and he can run through walls. And now if you've got Thunderbird on the site as well, then he's not going to lose that much health. There's no reason why you shouldn't take him, especially for multi-floor sites as well. Got Mozzie over here. Drone denial, definitely, but that drone is kind of annoying in terms of the fact that it's a damn laser. So console users love it. And then we get Ward in here, which is kind of weird, but actually it's not kind of weird. There is a lot more Ying play that we see nowadays, so Warden you'll see a lot more as well. And when you talk about the likes of Sense and any other smoke things, he's just a great pick in that respect. Most other guys are sort of close in here. You'll see Jager. A few months ago, he was over there. Now he's over here. And that's by virtue of all the nerfs that he's gotten. And I think he's going to get another nerf later on that we'll speak to as well. But he's sort of okay over here. What's really weird for me to see is Smoke at the bottom here, because Smoke is actually such a great operator with his smokes, with his shotgun, with the SMG 11. He's great, and especially on some sites, he's a damn annoyance. So to see his win delta being so low, don't know, I can't understand that. And there are trap operators when they are utilized, high win rates, and because Capcan I think is banned a lot, so Frost she's not nerfed yet, so her gadget is still great. But these two are annoying. But when you get them right, most of the time it involves no win, especially in a late late round rush. Then yeah, Capcan destroys. Rook is up here only because, in my opinion, not because of his reworked gadget. I think it's just because he's great to spawn people with. And then Clash, shame. Clash is Clash, is what it is. All the way down here. The Maestro usage being so low is also a bit weird because he's a 3 armor with a great gun and a great gadget. But I think it's also, the Brava inclusion now, the Gun 6 inclusion, you can easily take out his Maestro cams now. So it's almost pointless in a sense to have it. Um, but yeah, maybe that's why he's down there at the bottom. Let's get into the back. So, attacker wise, like I said, Jackal's the most in terms of band rate, but when he's not banned, you saw his presence is there. We'll always pick Jackal because he's fun to play with in that respect. He's got a great gun as well. Thatcher, normal, normal. And I have seen a rise of actually Fuse being banned, especially for multi-floor sites. And I've seen it a lot lately, especially in the past week. And I think people are getting less scared, or maybe that's not the right word, but the Thatcher being in play is no longer that big a thing considering the EMP secondaries that attackers now have. So it's not like we don't hear Thatcher in a certain sense, and we've gotten comfortable with it having been for years with this Thatcher ban. So I'm expecting over the next few months of this actual ban to come a bit lower. And then from a defense operator perspective, Capcan is shot up, Cade is still there, and then mid is getting less and less significant in that respect because people just don't like dealing with Capcan at the moment. And then all the rest over there. If you follow other YouTubers called Koros, he does the same thing. And I'm pretty sure that you'll be looking at me and say, you're just doing what Koros does. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm just doing it from a South African point of view. This is me and my experience from a South African server perspective. So yeah, I'm just going to do it anyway. Let's look at the gadget balancing. They introduced the observation blocker. Now, I said in my last video, the sort of year 8 reaction or my first thoughts, this is going to be an annoyance. I don't think it's going to be as potent or strategically potent in that respect. They do talk about the current only way to deny attacker targeting is by playing Mute, Mozzie, or Solus. And now let me just speak outright about these three. I think that this lady Solus is going to get nerfed soon. Her gadget is super strong. It can see, you can hunt drones in the beginning, basically stop those drones from getting into strategic places. And on top of that, she can play a bit like Pulse in that respect as well, in terms of giving information. Pairing her with the, the impact grenades as well for her to make goals, she's super strong. Nevertheless, the observation blocker will never be as potent as what Mute Mozzie and Solus does. So it's just there as an alternative, and they actually do say it nicely here. Where do they say it? To fulfill their roles to a lesser degree, and it is a lesser degree. It's just an annoyance. The vulnerability, you can shoot it out, laser, and that's specific to Twitch being able to take it out and Bravo being able to overwrite it. Melee and explosives. This is not going to be a massive thing, but it is going to be an annoyance. You'll have to deal with it if you want to get information past it, or you risk your drone going past it. You can watch one of Koros's videos, got a little mythbuster around the observation blocker. I suggest you do have a look at it. It's going to help you a lot in terms of how best to utilize it. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. I know it's going to be given as an extra secondary gadget for some of the operators, and we're going to get through those changes now. I mean, they mentioned it over here, but let's go into the actual detail. For Alibi, they're removing the deployable shield and impact grenades, and they're giving an observation block and a proximity lock. Now, let's be clear on this. I'm happy about this change because Alibi is strong. When I say she's strong, great gun, really great gun. Her gadget blocks lines of sight. Never mind giving away information if the opponent shoots it. And I think the deployable shield and impact grenades were just extra things that help to become stronger in terms of a team setup information. So the fact that they're removing it because she's more a roamer or shallow roamer, for me makes sense. Giving an observation block and a proximity alarm, I'm pretty sure the observation block is going to sit and gather dust with her. The proximity alarm means more in that respect, especially if because she's used from her own perspective. We talk about Clash, they gave her deployable shield, and just really, she is a teammate to help set up the site. Never mind being an annoyance on certain situations or maps where there's a narrow way for attackers to come in. Deployable shield is just addition to them already giving a super shorty to make rotations and stuff like that. Nothing crazy. Goyo nerfed. Nitrocell, thank you. It should have been removed. The fact that his Vulcan canisters, you've got three of them, or four of them, three of them. It can deny for 20 seconds over a large ass area. That's crazy. And I saw that he still had a Nitrocell, made him super strong, and he's got the Victor. So I'm happy with this nerf. It for me makes more sense. And the fact that they gave him then impact grenades, and they say yeah to help him maybe be able to trigger his Vulcan, um, whatever's his Vulcan's canisters without having to have direct line of sight. I think it's great. I don't think you're going to see the bulletproof camera. I think you're just going to see the impact grenades with him because that also helps his sight design as well. Now Grim, this is sort of phase one of his buff. They can make him fire. His hive launcher faster. The equip time is slightly shorter. The activation time has been reduced, but now when you shoot it against the wall, it is for a brief moment vulnerable to being shot. So it gives the defender an opportunity to shoot it, and you're going to want to because the duration has increased to 16 seconds, so it lasts a lot longer. The radius is increased from 3.6 to 4.6 meters, it's much wider, and now detects any part of your body, whereas before it used to detect your head. And then on top of that, fine, it doesn't ping you for 9 seconds, but it pings you for 4 seconds, whereas on each end, every second is going to ping you. So there's more opportunity, a smaller window, but a great opportunity for you to get wall banged. So I think that's a great change to him. They gave him a bailiff as well that can help with hatches if there and the hard boot. So they've given these options to make him more viable or more attractive in terms of having him on the team. Now, when you compare to the other, let's say, flank deniers. And actually, I wouldn't call Grim a flank denier. He's more for a very situational period where you want to block off an area for a specific push, or you want to block off a, or not block off, but make it more not scary, make it a bit more dangerous for an enemy to move because then they're going to be caught out by it. So I see him using for plant denials. I see him being used for protecting the plant in that respect. For the most part, he's not a nomad or a what's that other lady's name? Gridlock. He's not a replacement or an alternative to them in my opinion because their gadgets actually, once you place it, they stay and they have to be actually taken out in order to go forward. So I think this is the right step in the right direction for Grim. But they said this is just the first part of this. There's some stuff that I saw on the net where they might make that instead of it being a ping, the actual when you go through these hours, it creates the outline like the original Lion, um, the Lion operator used to do. Now, I am for that actually, but only if that outline is something that Grim sees alone. If it's everybody who can see the outline, then it's going to be overpowered. But if it's just for Grim, by all means, go ahead and do it. Jaeger removed the barbed wire. I'm actually unhappy about this. I don't want the observation blocker on Jaeger. I like the barbed wire because it will use as a sound cue as well. So I'm a bit pissed off for that. And his pick rate has already gone down so much in terms of all the other nerfs that have been done to him. So I'm not really happy about it, and I'm sure I'm not going to be the only one in terms of that perspective. Pulse is getting a deployable shield as an option. Now, generally you use Pulse with a C4 for the most part. It's generally, you never see the barbed wire really come out. But there are opportunities where the deployable shield might just be a better option instead of the nitro cell. So I think this is actually a great little advantage for Pulse in terms of the choices of how you can play him, and especially with him in a shotgun, if you're coming out from a deployable shield, I think that's a great way to play him as well. So I think this is a good change to Pulse, and probably will influence how we can play with him going forward. Unfortunately, as mentioned, Smoke is losing his shield. And I can't understand when you looked in the win delta, he's at the bottom in terms of console. So I'm a bit concerned as to why they wanted to move the shield. Look, he's already strong. Shotgun, SMG 11, and his smokes are really good as well. Never mind in terms of blurring the vision, but also doing harm as well. So, ish, I don't know. The proximity alarm is fine. I mean, in the same case like with Tachanka, who's also getting the proximity alarm. Now you'll at least be able to place it somewhere. If you know someone's there, just toss the smoke in that direction, and you should be able to get it. But I think the deployable shield is kind of a big nerf to him as well. Tachanka, as mentioned, proximity alarm. I think just makes it awesome for him because he can shoot his chemical launcher from anywhere. Thunderbird. Now this changes I'm happy with. Thunderbird has a great gun. Not super, but it's a great gun. Then on top of that, she had the option of impact grenades to do rotations or a nitro cell. Now she's a 2 speed, 2 armor. I am happy with these changes because she is technically a support defender, and that support is provided with the Kona station, in which case there is a buff to it. And I'm calling it a buff because it's much more opportunities to heal, even though it's a less amount of HP. But I'm thinking, as far as I'm concerned, that's still great. But the fact that she used to have a nitro cell and impact grenades, I think made a pick rate go up and made it more useful to the team. And I think this balance is like giving a barbed wire and a bulletproof cam uh, because lesser attractive options than the impact grenade and nitro cell. but I think it's a good balance for her. She's really strong in terms of a gun and in terms of the gadgetry. The secondary stuff was just giving her too much, in my opinion, into her arsenal. So I'm happy with this change as well. I think that's the end of it. So it's not as much change as we had before, but it's at least a point in the right direction. And I say a point in the right direction because what I'm liking with Ubisoft is that they're not doing heavy meta changes just on the fly. It's like a slow, fluid movement of meta influencing changes over time. And like when the introduction of the EMP grenade came in, or the impact grenade, um, the expectation was that Thatcher was not going to be banned as much, but it didn't happen immediately. But it's starting to happen now, and it's starting to move away from Thatcher being banned and more specific type of operators being banned. So, and it's filtering down. I mean, generally you see at the top level weird as bands in terms of what they don't want to deal with. When I say weird, it's weird for us because when we get to a band, definitely take Jackal out because we don't at our level know how to deal cohesively with a Jackal at this point. Um, and that's just me saying it from my team perspective, but generally from a console perspective as well. I think I'm not too far wrong in terms of saying that. Nevertheless, I'm looking forward to the next season. Starts on Tuesday. Um, so yeah, I'll catch you guys in the South African server, wherever you are. Um, and let's have fun. If you like the video, please subscribe. If you have any comments that you want to make in terms of what my thoughts are from South African perspective, then please, by all means, add your commentary. If you disagree, by all means, add it as well. I'm here just to get the Siege community and keep it going because I love this game. I don't ever want to stop, and I want us to all enjoy it. So yeah, thanks for your viewership. Thanks for listening out, and yeah, comment, like, subscribe. This is Mr. Amazing from the Independent View. Thank you very much, guys.